For more, let's go to Bodrum in Turkey. Former senior U.S. diplomat Matthew Beriza is a board member of the Jamestown Foundation. Thank you for speaking with us here on France 24.
Thanks, Francois. An honor to be with you.
You just heard Daniel Hawkins mention something which may seem like it's a detail, but it's not. It's the insurance cost of crossing the Black Sea. Right now, with no grain deal, that is a real issue. And so my question is, at this point in time, can Vladimir Putin afford to not be in the grain deal?
Yeah, interesting here in Turkey, the Turkish government has been providing some subsidies actually for some of the insurance, the maritime insurance in the Black Sea. Vladimir Putin actually is doing fine with or without the grain deal. Last year, Russia set a record for the most grain exports in its history. Russia is getting its grain out. I think President Putin has just decided to use the grain deal as a political tool, A, to try to weaken Ukraine, and B, to create a wedge within the community of countries that have applied sanctions, to try to get one Russian bank, State Agricultural Bank, reconnected with SWIFT, and to try to get some insurance on Russian vessels carrying Russian cargoes. He can lift those conditions anytime he wants, but he can get along without the grain deal. Again, Russia had record grain exports last year.
So it's Recep Tayyip Erdogan who stands to lose more. After all, Turkey has benefited from cheaper oil, cheaper grains coming from across the Black Sea.
Absolutely. Turkey has benefited greatly from both of those. And the economic relationship between Russia and Turkey is, well, it's symbiotic, like all economic relationships. Putin needs Turkey in a lot of ways. I mean, as he said during his during the press conference, Turkey is very important to Russia in energy. Russia is building a $20 billion nuclear power plant in southern Turkey. And Russia wants to finalize something that Putin has called a Turkish natural gas hub. What that is a way to transport more Russian gas into the European Union, even though by 2027, the European Union has said it wants to stop all flows of Russian gas and oil into the EU. So there's a secret agreement that was leaked that would allow essentially Russian gas to move from Turkey through Bulgaria and onward to Serbia and to Hungary. And Serbia is not in the EU yet. So Putin needs Erdogan to help get Russian gas to Europe as well. So it's a symbiotic relationship.
And at this point in time, if there is no breakthrough, if the grain deal remains off the table, how much does Turkey feel the pinch?
Well, it's an opportunity cost lost, right? Turkey, by the way, is importing Russian crude oil and Russian refined product. And the grain helps. The cheaper Russian grain helps Turkey. But it's not that much economic pressure on Turkey that comes from the grain deal not being in place. I think Erdogan really, as Daniel Hawkins was saying, really relishes his role as a mediator, as really the only leader of a NATO country who can talk to both Putin and Zelensky. Both Putin and Zelensky say they value Erdogan's mediation, and Erdogan says he thinks they're getting close to compromises for the grain deal, also, as Daniel Hawkins was just reporting. So I think this failure of the grain deal is most important for the countries in the developing world, the so-called global South, who will already pay higher grain prices because this 25 million tons or so of grain exports from Ukraine has been called into question again.
So it's become a lot more volatile since July for any ship in the Black Sea. Very few have been coming through. Those that have taken those circuitous routes to get to the Bosphorus, they've been nail biters. People have been watching them. If one of those ships is hit, does Turkey have a plan?
No, it doesn't. I don't think so. I mean, Turkey has the right under the Montreux Convention of the 1930s to close the Bosporus and Dardanelles to warships that are not based in the Black Sea. And Turkey has been exercising that right and keeping Russian ships out of the Black Sea that aren't based in the Black Sea. But if Russia were to decide to attack a civilian cargo ship, now there's nothing Turkey could do. That's why a lot of military analysts are saying NATO member states, Romania and Bulgaria and Turkey, could provide naval escorts to those cargo ships. But so far, so far, despite Vladimir Putin threatening any ships that were transiting the Black Sea, nothing has happened to those ships. That the way they get out is they hug the coast of Romania and Bulgaria, which are NATO members, and Putin has not called NATO's bluff. It has not tried to harm any ships in those NATO territorial waters, and I doubt that he will attack any ships in those NATO waters, to be honest.
You doubt he will, but again, there's those tensions, and we've seen how longer and longer ranges for missiles and drones coming from both sides in the conflict. Today, there was a false alarm where Ukraine claimed that a missile had hit Romania. Romania said it didn't happen. Still, is this just all bluster and fog of war, or is it really becoming more and more dangerous?
Well, yeah, a nail biter. You used the right phrase. It really was a nail biter for those ships that first transited the Black Sea. It's dangerous situation. I think we know that war is the continuation of politics by other means. So military threats are negotiating tools, and so Putin hoped, I think, that he could squeeze Ukraine's economy by threatening to sink civilian ships if they dared carry cargo from Ukraine. And those ships called Putin's bluff, and he did not respond. I think that while the tension is high, and you're right, I mean, there was this incident in Romania, or maybe not today, you also have to keep in mind that Ukraine's naval capabilities are increasing, meaning shore-to-ship missiles. And so some of my friends who are still active duty in the U.S. military, flag officers, generals, they are estimating that Ukraine is developing the capability possibly to neutralize Russia's Black Sea fleet as a naval weapon, and it will simply be useful still as a platform for launching cruise missiles into Ukrainian cities. But in terms of being able to interdict shipping, the Russian Black Sea fleet is becoming, I think, more and more constrained by Ukraine's capabilities. But of course, yes, Russia could launch a missile and sink one of those civilian ships, but Ukraine would counterattack them.
Matthew, one final question for you, please. We've seen that out of Ukraine this Monday, news of little incremental gains on the battlefield, and also the announcement of the resignation of the defense minister. He's not accused of any wrongdoing, but on his watch, there have been procurement scandals. How do you sense the way the tide is going, and when you read, the announcements and the claims coming out of Kyiv these days?
Yeah, number one, you could read Defense Minister Reznik's resignation as a sign of a change because President Zelensky is confident, or because he is impatient. My sense is, if you listen to what the White House has been saying, and many of Ukraine military tactics critics in Washington, they have been saying actually Ukraine has made some significant gains in terms of tactics and what they've achieved rather than the amount of territory that they've been able to recover. In other words, they've broken through the first highly mined and fortified Russian defensive line. And if they can break through the second line and then create a breakout, so in other words, like the Allied forces did in Normandy in 1944, it took them 2 months after the successful landing on your beaches to break out. If Ukraine can achieve such a breakout, then it's got about 50 miles to go to get to the Black Sea coast and cut off Crimea from Russia via that land bridge that Russia has created through its occupation of Ukraine. So I think we're seeing growing momentum, even if the volume of territory is small. The significance, the strategic significance of what's been recovered really in the last couple of weeks is big.
All right, we'll continue to watch it. Ambassador Bryza, many thanks for joining us today from Bodrum.
I really enjoyed it. Thank you.